Hey guys, John here. So, as a lot of you guys may know, I recently attended ESL in New York on behalf of MSI. Actually, I hadn't really ever attended a tournament like this where I would act almost like a fan a little bit. So, it was such a unique experience. Actually, I had a lot of fun. But yeah, also lucky for me, I was able to watch a lot of the games live from the MSI booth. And it was a really cool environment. Mainly because the NA teams were playing so well throughout the entire event, right? NRG making the semifinals, and then Liquid making the finals.
Liquid's taking it 3-1.
Obviously, most people probably thought Liquid was going to take the finals, self included. And it wasn't until the fifth map that I really thought they ever stood a chance of winning. In this video, I want to discuss some of the things I think cost Liquid this finals. From the moment they were up 13-4 on the fourth map, which was Dust 2, full economic control. How did the game slip away from them? On CT side does too, which when you watch it at the top levels of CS right now, does appear to be a CT sided map. So Liquid had to really, mess up in a lot of different areas for that to happen. But I think the main area, if I were to take one thing away, would be they really cost themselves on the economic decisions because they force themselves to play in a style that they're not comfortable with and ultimately took their advantage that they had going into the map right away from themselves. So this isn't something that's unique though when you watch Liquid play. Actually, they're one of the more aggressive teams on their CD sides when it comes to buying, and in large part that's due to the fact that I think Nitro wasn't a rifler in the past, so he's comfortable, not saving up for ops a lot of the times. He's comfortable on lesser buys, and that is what makes Liquid good. But it's also a double-edged sword, right? Where it could kill Liquid, and that's what it did in this finals. So without further ado, I actually want to hop into Exhibit A. First, we're going to look at actually HLTV, right? So we're going to look at this game. This is it right here. And you can see it's 19-17, first half 11-4 in favor of Liquid. They actually win the pistol, ensuing eco. So they're up 13-4, the full economic advantage. Now, you ask, like, what do you mean by they made economic decisions that were incorrect? So I actually made a picture here, which shows all of their buys at that point. So you can see their buys are not very good if you actually take time to analyze picture. So at 13-4, you can see they have a FAMAS and a Scout running. That's fine because when you think about what Mousesports had at this point, we'll see that in a second, they had the better buy on one of the few rounds that they actually had the better buy. 13-5, they force up again behind a couple saved guns. This is a terrible buy given what Mousesports has at this point in the game, but they do it because the loss bonus, the one round loss bonus. 13-6, they saved a couple of their guns. You can see they keep forcing up these like pistols or two on these rounds and buying a couple extra nades, and that's what ultimately is causing money later in the game to go away from them. So 13-7, you would think at this point they would have had a full buy, right, with all rifles and an AWP, potentially two. No, this is their first like real gun round is 5 rifles on Dust 2, and this is actually very rare to see a team with 5 rifles on a CT gun round. That's something that I'll show you guys in a little bit. 13-8, they eco obviously after losing that round, but again they're spending money outside of their buys despite their massive lead. So 13-9 is their first real gun round in my opinion of the entire game. Crazy that it went that far, but it's also the first round they win. Shocker. So they end up winning this round. Actually, Taco saved them here by winning a clutch. And the ensuing round is one of the few times I think in CS where I would have been okay with a team saving after winning a round. You can see what ends up happening is Taco passes the op to Nitro at 49, and look at the buy around that. 2 FAMASes, an MP5, and a 5.7. Obviously, they end up losing this round, but they saved several of their guns, and thus they rebuy a little bit more into the next round. It's like a trap that Liquid keeps playing where they lose an opening duel and they just decide, okay, let's save. But it's causing every buy they have to be terrible. by doing this. Like every buy they had throughout this half so far, bad buys. So 14-11, they buy upgraded pistols with the 3 guns they save from 14-10, because yet again they're saving guns. And yes, they lose this round as well. 14-12. This is actually, on paper, you look at an op and 4 rifles, but you look, the op's actually at the B bomb site. Taco's a B player. And if you look at the A bomb site, you see Elysian Twist has a very little utility for A players on Dust 2, especially when the meta right now is stopping this long A rush. That's very difficult to deal with. Ultimately, this A utility is what causes them to lose this round. So we'll take a look at that. 14-13, and they saved a couple guns, by upgraded pistols behind that. 14-14, but you know, it's their next, I would say at this point, their 2 full buys are 13-9, 14-14. And of course, they win this round at 14-14. But despite being up 5v2 in this round, Mousesports players do a really good job of grinding down into a one-on-one against NAF. NAF actually wins. But, I mean, Liquid still had a lot of reserves left over after that round, which you can see goes into the next round at 15-14. But it ultimately caused Twist, to have a FAMAS buy, not a lot of utility on Nitro. And I think that was maybe one of the only actual strong buys out of Liquid, that 15-14 round, that they actually lost throughout this half. So how does this happen? Like, how does a team allow themselves to, suffer so much economically despite having such a massive lead in the game, both obviously score-wise and economy-wise? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to hop in game and take a look at that. But I also wanted to show you guys, this is 16-0 site that gave me access. Side, not sponsored by them or anything like that, but Liquid has historically a very low win percentage on their CT Dust 2 when you look in comparison to other top teams. They only win 39% of the rounds. They force 45%. Keep that in mind. Now let's look at Navi, right? So Navi wins 46% of their CT rounds, force 38. That's a team you would typically think forces a lot. Strawless wins 70%. Obviously, they win a shit ton of games, and 31% force rate. Not really need to force when you're always winning. MIBR, that's a pretty good comparison right now to Liquid, right? 56% win rate, 33% force rate. But I think most important, let's look at their buy distributions, right? So let's go down to all of their buy distributions. So here we have Liquid first, and you can see they have ops on only 30% of the rounds on Dust 2. Now that sounds like a lot, but let's take a look at some of the other teams. And by the way, that 5 rifle setup, they run that 7.8% of the rounds they play Dust 2. Let's look at the other teams' stats in those categories. Right, so Navi, obviously, having like simple op a lot, runs ops much more. They're in the mid 40s, mid 40 percentile range. 40% of the rounds that they play, they have an op running. And when it comes to 5 rifles, you go all the way down here, it's 2.4% of the rounds. It's such a rare occurrence to see something like that when you watch Navi. Strawless, they're above 50% when it comes to running an op. These 2 op stats right here. 5 rifles, only 1.6% of the rounds. MIBR, also way up there when it comes to running ops, right? I mean, all of these teams run ops much more frequently than Liquid, because Liquid is so much more aggressive with the economy. And Taco does like opping. Nitro does like opping. They're very good at opping, actually, when you watch Liquid play. Especially Nitro. I think he's a very impactful opper that's very underrated. And again, we look at the 5 rifles. So MIBR only has 5 rifles, 1.2% of the rounds they play on CT Dust 2. So, see, this is something that is kind of systemic in how Liquid approaches Dust 2. But it ultimately is what makes their CT Dust 2, in my opinion, worse than all these other top teams. Not like they're inherently bad on this map. Not like they don't have good setups when they have full utility. They actually have great setups and great utility usage when they have it. But they don't allow themselves to have it. So let's see what happened in this Mousesports game. And I'll also give tons of credit throughout Mousesports throughout this. So I'm being a little bit harsh on Liquid right now, but Mousesports made some incredible reads. So let's hop into game now. And let's really see like what happened, right? So we're going to go through several rounds here. We're going to start where everything began. This 13-4 round. Okay, so at 13-4, you can see Liquid is going to have a much better buy than Mousesports here. Mousesports has, you know, 2 AKs, a Scout, a Deagle, and a Galil. So technically, Liquid should be playing this round, you know, pretty safe in my opinion. But in their heads, and this round is going to set the precedent for it. This is the first time you'll see it. When Liquid has a weak buy, they tend to make aggressive plays, risky stacks, and gambles. And this isn't something that, you know, only Liquid does. This is something that's very prevalent throughout CS. But the sheer amount that Liquid force buys causes them to, you know, be a very volatile team when you watch them. So you can see Elish playing close to the smoke. Nitro actually backs off, flashes. He dinks Sunny, right? So he dinks Sunny on catwalk, sees people on cat. And the reason why he likely did that is because he knows that his B players have a Scout and a FAMAS, right? If Mousesports were to do a mid-B split around like this, I would guess they would probably wipe the B site. It's not a very good utility set to have at the B bomb site. So that's why maybe he's getting a little bit aggressive. He's also maybe feeling confident up 13-4. Therapist here. I'll read his mind. You see Naf cheats towards the A bomb site. So again, further perpetuating the fact that Liquid likes to gamble throughout this entire half. Right? 3 people towards the A bomb site, leaving Taco alone B. And this is the first time of many you'll see where Chris J makes an outstanding call to go to the weaker bomb site. So they destroy Taco immediately. Actually hit a very nice shot to kill him right there. Let's go to the next round now. Okay. So here we have 13-5. Liquid forces up behind their couple saved guns here. Mousesports not a much better buy than them when you look at the items they have. So right out of spawn we have, you know, Liquid looking like they're going to go towards kind of a default setup. Naf scouting around mid. Elish playing on cat for a second. Spots the guy jumping lower. And then he decides, okay, I'm going to drop spawn. Naf crosses over. So they now have 4 people towards the A bomb site. Yet again, taking a risk, right? That's how Liquid's dealing with these economic deficiencies, I guess. So Elish and gonna get in a very unfortunate scenario where Mousesports basically creeps out mid, mollies into spawn, forces Elish out, he obviously dies in the fire, and then this is just a matter of time before Taco gets pinched and dies, right? 3 players of Mousesports coming out mid, 1 upper B. You can see Liquid is immediately thinking, let's save on this round, right? This round's over. Now let's go all the way to 14-9. So this is actually going to be after Liquid wins their first round, right? So 14-9 is when Taco actually saves that op. You guys remember? And then I said this maybe should have been a round where Liquid thinks about saving. That is extremely harsh of me to say. I know, because I've been in this scenario. It's very difficult as an Indian leader to make that decision, to decide to save after you win a round. Not an intuitive thing that you think about live in a match. But I mean, maybe they could take that away. Maybe that's something they can learn from moving forward. So you can see their buy here is absolutely terrible, right? So how are they going to compensate for having such a worse buy than Mousesports on a round like this? Well, of course, they're just going to stack the A bomb site. Like, that's what Liquid solution is on all of these buys. They just want to gamble. They want to gamble and try to guess which site to stack. You can see here, Mousesports, another incredible read. They just creep out mid. They take this fight spawn, and Taco is screwed already. He has no idea. You guys are already out mid. I'm sure his teammates actually communicating to him at this point. But the round's over. You know, Mousesports has the B bomb site. Liquid doesn't have the guns to retake this site. They actually end up saving a lot of their weapons here. So I'm going to go to the next round. So here we have 14-10. All tapped out. Let's go ahead and have him back in, guys. Okay, so here we have 14-10. And again, Liquid is on a little bit of a shoddy buy. They keep forcing around these saved guns, which aren't even good guns to begin with, outside of maybe the op that they keep saving. So how are they going to deal with this now? It seems like they keep getting mid-B split on. All right, let's stack the B bomb site with 3 guys. So they stack the B bomb site with 3 players, Taco, Naf, and Elish towards B. And again, Chris J, I can't commend this guy enough. He made some incredible calls throughout this game for Mousesports to come back into it. You see, Mousesports takes Cat pretty much for free, almost as if they knew Liquid wasn't going to contest them this round on Cat because of how many B splits they were doing. They just run up, take it for free. So the real smoke, the spawn drop smoke, Chris J drops into spawn, flash. We will see more of later on. And he's so patient, he waits for it. So Nitro's upping the corner. You can see at long, Snacks is actually waiting. And he's waiting because if Twist were to run away and make sound, Snacks would know to immediately be on the prowl and flank, pinch with his player that drops spawn, Chris J, along with the guy that's going top it. Right? We also have Rops lurking out mid. So this call is literally perfect. So you can see Chris J playing patient, waits for a flash from his teammate, and he's up, flash coming, and he kills Nitro blind. And that's the round over. Immediately Liquid's thinking this round's over. Don't have the guns to retake the A bomb site. Rops is lurking out mid. They don't even know that. And this is yet again another round where Sports wins. So now we're going to look at 14-11. So this is actually really interesting. So on this round, Twist actually has this gun. He plays on Cat, gets a pick on Sunny on Xbox. It's a 5v4. Mousesports makes a great read, another great read by Chris J. Knowing Liquid's playing on Cat, we can take long, probably for free, maybe one guy there. So they're walking out long right now, clearing all these angles. And you can see they let Liquid know they're there. They molly the car, they set Snacks up by the pit. Snacks is left there to sell a fake. And how does Liquid react? Well, Naf and Nitro are now swinging towards the A bomb site. So again, more gambles coming out of Liquid. 4 people towards the A bomb site, again leaving Taco on an island at the B bomb site. They have a 5v4 advantage. Now, Taco is about to get 1-on-3'd, obviously, because Liquid thinks that Mousesports has long A control. They're probably going to come long A. We have to gamble. We don't have guns, we don't have armor, we don't have nades. Obviously, Taco is not going to stop that. And at this point, it's a 4-on-3 at the B bomb site. It's not a great scenario for CTs to be in. And ultimately, Mousesports is going to end up winning this round. So you can see Snacks gets alert kill in mid. I mean, this is just, at this point, ends up saving the 2 AKs. So the next round, 14-12. Now this is the round where, if you were to look at those stats, this is an adequate buy. It's an op and 4 rifles. But look at the utility on their A players and notice that Taco has the AWP instead of Nitro. So this is a scenario where Taco probably feels they're hitting the B bomb site a lot. Maybe I should be opping. But it's so valuable to have an op at the A bomb site with all the long angles, no pun intended, and he blinds. So you can see what ends up happening here is quite ironic given Liquid's buy, right? So Twist goes to play long A. There's a really cool molly off the floor right there. And Liquid looks like they're going to fight for long, but they don't have the utility to. In normal scenarios, and even earlier in this half, they fought for this. But on this round, actually the first gun round they won, they fought for long control. So on this round, you can see Twist actually crosses thinking he's going to fight, but his teammates are already retreated all the way back into the site. You can see, actually, Elige is on the ramp right now with Nitro backing out. So Twist jumps away, gives up long control, and they play catwalk. Right? So that doesn't seem like a problem, but when you look at Liquid's utility and their lack of ability to fight this long cross, and the fact that they were just burned, right? They were just burned by the fact that Mousesports took long control and fell to B. So even though Taco has all of the info in the world, he's peeking deep into upper B tunnels right now with his op. He's actually making an amazing reactionary play based on what's happening in this round. Nap is still jump spotting the door You can see Twist is rotating into CT to help clear up mid in a second. So together they're going to clear up mid. But the hit's coming up long right now, and the two players on Liquid playing Catwalk aren't really there to stop it. So you can see what's going to happen is they're just going to get mollied off. And they have hardly any utility to retake this site. Even if things were to go perfectly, like Mouse were to jump in that molly and die, I would still put the advantage to Mousesports in holding this bomb site. But Rops ends up getting a kill on Unleash pushing up Catwalk. And you can see the late molly coming Cat. And there's just no way Liquid's winning this round. Another outstanding read by Mousesports in this game. It just seems like every round they make the perfect read. But it's only allowed because of how Liquid's playing this map. And they're only playing this map because of how they're treating the economy. And you learn that once you see how Liquid ends up playing in overtime when they have full buys. The 2 rounds that they won with the full buys as well as overtime. You get a sense for how Liquid would actually approach these rounds if they had full buys. So I actually want to show you guys the 15-14 round because this is one of those rounds where we could actually go to 14-14, which is one of the few rounds, like I said, where Liquid has a full buy, right? So as soon as demo UI allows us to check that out and see what actually happens when Liquid has full buys in these rounds, what happens, in overtime outside of heroic play from Crochet. I can't literally praise this guy enough. I don't know if you guys can tell, but outside of even having some amazing reads, I think he had probably the most impact as a player throughout this entire series when you watch Mousesports. So, okay, guys, so here we have the 14-14 round where you'll actually get to see Liquid on a full buy setup towards the A bomb site, right? So they're actually able to fight for long control here. You can see they're using tons of utility here to stop this. Twist actually gets the opening kill on Rops towards long. Then immediately Mousesports reacts by coming up Catwalk, which is a very standard reaction. Like you see the other team fighting for long, you run up Catwalk. Nitro gets an easy kill on Chris running off Cat. Repositions himself right here, so it's now 3-on-5. So you can see he's angling off behind his own smoke. We have Unleash spotting from car. And basically they lock down this round up until the point where Mousesports grinds back a 2-on-5. So Nitro makes a good read for this boost. The Oscar's about to peek right into him. Yeah, so at this point, obviously you would think Liquid's just gonna close out this round very easily. I think they overcommit to a lot of the fights right here. Weird that Naf and Taco aren't really rotating yet at this point, considering what's going on in the round. So a lot of weird mistakes. I do think at this point, maybe the nerves of losing this game are getting to Liquid, and they're playing a little bit rigid. Mousesports kind of handed them this round, in my opinion. But you can see at this point, Lead and Nitro both get forced off, and now it's it's anyone's game because now Sunny's gonna flank Catwalk to mid, get a kill on Taco, and I would actually favor Mousesports. That commit right there is a little bit weird, and it leaves Snacks in a one-on-one against Naf, who actually just destroys him. So that is one of the few rounds though that Liquid had a full buy in this entire game, and it came down to a 2-on-5. But I think we would see a lot more of that had Liquid run their default setup. No way to really know. And this is the last round of the first half, or I'm sorry, the regulation. You can see Elige and Twist immediately going towards Catwalk, Nitro upping long. And this is another round where they don't have their ideal buy. I don't know why they didn't do their default setup. You can see they're kind of makeshifting a setup right now, Elige shooting the wall. And this is just a weird scenario where I can't imagine this panning out in any way other than trade kills. Given the FAMAS and head tucked in M4. So you can see, regardless, we'll watch Sunny because he does hit a very nice shot or break up the setup, but it happens exactly how you would think, right? So Elige swings, Sunny gets an easy kill based on crosshair placement. Chris takes the angle on the right, smartly enough. They both get those kills, and the round's over. Okay, so weird decision for Liquid not to play default setup on that round, but Mousesports did earn this round by clearing Catwalk correctly. So the last round I just want to go over is basically just showing the heroics of Chris J on this first round of OT, because even after that massive comeback, I thought once Liquid had an economy, it would still be really difficult for Mousesports to, manage to break them on those rounds in OT. So I want to actually watch Chris J this round and just show you guys some of the heroics that he made. So he starts the round, he flashes for Snacks to pick long. And I think it was a little bit of a mistake by Snacks to not buy an AK here, and you'll see why when the strat actually unfolds. So Chris takes Snacks op from him, probably because he doesn't really care what he uses. He's also very good at opping, as you can see throughout this entire series, especially the Mirage clip. But what Mouse is going to do here is they're going to do a spawn drop split to B, but they're going to leave, as you can see on radar right now, they have 3 people towards upper B right now just waiting. And what this is trying to accomplish is the A players think it's A because the rail and the spawn drop smoke. The B players think it could potentially be a mid B split, so maybe we should fight the mid B split. So you're kind of pulling the B players out of the B bomb site and allowing your 3 players to walk in and maybe get a 1-on-3, potentially even get the bomb site for free. That's actually a fantastic strat to call in a time like this, but it's actually won because of Chris J, who spawn drops with an op. Probably the ballsiest thing I've ever seen at 15-15. So baller. So we saw him spawn drop before, go towards A earlier in the game, and now we're actually going to see him spawn drop and go towards B. So he gets that kill, and Taco's in a perfectly normal spot outside the B doors to stop this. I think in most scenarios he would. But in most scenarios, you're not fighting an op that drops into spawn this far away, right? That's why this is so baller, is Taco's in a spot where he can't really take the fight that he probably would want to right there. And Chris even hits him down to 13 HP. And at this point, Sunny just lurks out mid, gets a kill on Nap rotating out. Taco outside the site. Like I said, easy kill for Sunny, and the round's won. Now Liquid does win the next 2 rounds quite easily, and fortunately for Mousesports, Liquid's T side wasn't as strong as it was in the first half, and Mousesports locked them out 3-0. This round is, in my opinion, is the defining moment of the game. Obviously, outside of all of the amazing calls that Chris J had, the individual play on this round to win Mousesports this game, huge. I can't commend this guy enough. But I do think that Liquid was the more prepared team, but they definitely blew it, to say the least, with a lot of their buys and lack of willing to just save. Just take one on the chin and get a full buy and actually be able to run your default setup. So this is a problem throughout all of tier 1, tier 2 CS. There's a lot of forced buys, not a lot of pure CS. You actually see Sponge complain a lot about CT mismanagement of economy when you watch a lot of the deaths. But it's often really hard to describe what you mean when you say things like that. So I thought I'd make a video actually explaining a perfect example right here as to how you can actually put yourself at a massive disadvantage on a CT-sided map with a 13-4 lead and coming into that with an economic advantage. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's a little bit different than usual. I know I didn't show a lot of footage. There's a lot of like nerdy stats and stuff like that, but I think this can help out a lot of teams as far as how to shape your economy on CT sides. This is only looking at Dust 2, but this goes for wide variety of maps. Obviously certain maps differently. Anyway, thanks again for watching, guys, and special thanks for MSI to fly me out to New York. Had a great time there. Thanks for everyone who came to visit us at the booth. Yeah, peace out, guys.